there was a recent event on this climate change called by I think by United Nations called Climate Change Conference or COP27. Um, and that's something which I was trying to follow, but I would try to understand from your perspective, since you're in this field specifically, you would have uh, a much more in-depth understanding. So, would that something you could share?
So yeah, of course, the COP27, which kind of uh, happens every year and brings together people from different walks of life and different governments. Uh, COP27 specifically hasn't been as, but I feel this is my particular opinion and
Yeah, yeah, sure.
what I read of the situation. So it's nothing. I'm not taking any institutional
Right.
perspectives or
Very
thoughts,
true.
but
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it has been for me. I feel the COP26, which happened in Glasgow, and COP27, which happened this time in Egypt, were um, incremental developments and nothing like major milestones that happened. For example, in Paris, um, it's there is a very approach to a lot of um, ideas that were taken from COP26 and then it progressed to COP27 with many stakeholders. COP27 is basically a meeting ground for uh, different actors who are directly or indirectly related to climate to actually contribute to the whole climate action.
Right.
So it is basically a lot of how actors align themselves, like who are, for example, private actors, you have civil society actors, you have governments to actually come out together and join up together to actually go and set themselves goals the next year, every year, so that there is some visible, tangible steps taken for climate action. This COP is basically a meeting point where everyone come together, see what their interests are, set and, and set tangible, incremental steps towards climate mitigation or towards what steps needs to be taken in climate action. So it's that place where that happens. In my opinion, that's the whole idea of conference of parties. All the
Right.
parties.
And one of the topics that was hotly discussed in this COP27 has been around the loss and damage fund, right?
Yeah,
Primarily a fund that should come from developed countries because historically they've been the ones with the highest emissions, and
yeah,
other private organizations, because manufacturing or, or large scale production is a big contribution. Large scale manufacturing and production is obviously big contributors to the emissions. So but this has not um, been able to this has not come
yeah,
into implementation.
yeah.
What is your take on that? Is the future bright for this, or is it still going to be theoretically there or not practically out there?
I mean, that's one like a major milestone for COP27 is to have the loss and damage fund. But I think that's been the uh, most of the COP till now has been focused on the mitigation side of things, and there has been long calls from developing countries like Maldives and especially small island developing states
Yeah,
to come out for on adaptation side of things. So
yeah,
this has been a monumental achievement for this side of for this group of countries to really make agreements with developed countries to commit a sizable amount for adaptation. So this is a win for them for sure.
mm,
That this has been the major outcome.
yeah,
So yes, so in theory, in principle, it has been this agreement, this commitment to shore up finances for from the countries in the north to channel it to the countries in the south most affected by climate issues.
right.
But the again, this is still in theory. We have always seen a commitment for 100 billion finances, climate finances, which has not been fulfilled by these countries again in previous COPs. So it is still a wait and watch how it is going to be implemented, who will be major contributors to this fund.
Yeah.
Also, but this it's a milestone in the narrative because like Paris Agreement, which theoretically put everyone on the same platform, COP27 actually brought on the everyone on the topic of adaptation finance, and there was some commitments over it. So in that sense, that has been a positive move. Then the details still have to be ironed out, like how it is implemented, who will do it, who are the beneficiaries, and how the whole thing work. That might take some time, but this is definitely a move in the right direction.